All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us, from all of us here at the ASAP Network.
How's everybody doing? My name is Christopher Brown. It's Thursday, so you know it's Real Talk. I got two amazing guys with me. Why don't y'all introduce yourself?
What's going on, everybody? I'm a regular now on Real Talk every week, twice a week with you. My name is Jay Nez. You can obviously reach me on Facebook as Jay Nez.
Nate.
This is Nate the Great. I'm hopping on as a guest, but you can find me on Monday Night Sports Corner. Oh, I say Sports Corner now. And I'm hopping on as a guest, and you can find me as Nathaniel McWords.
Yes. Unfortunately, the usual crew, some of them are here today. Our thoughts and prayers are towards them as they're taking care of some family issues. But before we begin everything, let's talk about these T-shirts. Listen. For everybody watching, I just want to say thank you for the support. If you want to have a chance to win this free T-shirt, what I want you to do is like the video, share the video, like the page, share the page. At the end of the month, we tally everything up, and that person is crowned Viewer of the Month. And that Viewer of the Month gets their very own ASAP Network T-shirt. Also, we are selling T-shirts. So if you want to buy a T-shirt, they're $14.99 plus shipping and handling. If you know one of the admins, send us a message. You can send the Facebook page a message. Or if you know one of the analysts personally, send them a message. They're going to get it back to us, and we're going to get you those shirts. Now, gentlemen, we're going to talk about a lot of different sports today. But let's start it off with college basketball. Jalen Johnson, a rookie who potentially can be a lottery draft pick, decided to opt out and get ready for the NBA draft. Jay, how do you feel about that? What's your thoughts?
That was perfect of him. Duke is struggling this year, man. It's not normal. It's not a normal year for college basketball as it is. It's definitely not a normal year to be a Dookie. And these type of seasons, especially for his talent, these are the type of seasons that, set people back. That have, you come out of this type of season with a freak injury, kind of like Blake Griffin did or something like that back in the day. So I respect the call. He's not, what is he competing for? Again, remember, Chris, we're about to see soon, hopefully, everything change with this whole paying college players and stuff like that.
It needs to happen ASAP.
Yeah,
ASAP.
these type of situations wouldn't arise, man. And it really falls back on that. I mean, look at the times we're in, bro. As a country, everyone's tight on money. There's money situations going around, and this is a result of the situation not being rectified. So we're probably going to see more of this. Look for a couple of players from Kentucky that might pop out. Try
Brandon
it out.
Boston.
Yep. So I don't blame him.
Nate, how do you feel about the situation?
I'm with Jay, actually. I don't blame him. Almost no one will take care of you. Well, can look out for you is what I should say. Better than you.
That's true.
It's it doesn't matter like what sport you play, whatever personal thing you play or do, no one will take care of you better than you.
Yeah, I'm kind of with y'all. For me, I'm always going to support the college athlete because I feel like they're going to take advantage of anyway. You know, everybody tell me, oh, well, they're paying for your education. Oh, well, some athletes gets paid. I'm not trying to hear none of that. Unless it's legal, it don't matter. That means everybody's not getting paid. Now, you're going to have people saying, well, he opted out 3 weeks. You know, it's only 3 weeks left in the regular season. Now he wants to opt out. But listen, get healthy, get right for the NBA draft. This is a weird year for college basketball. I mean, Duke is trash. Kentucky is trash. And honestly, I think that's going to be the wave, you know, now because you got guys going into the G League. You got the G League Ignite team. You got, you know, Green. He is popping off right now. And the other guys that were from high school to G League, I think that's going to be the norm. There's not going to be a lot of one and done, you know, so Kentucky, Duke, I think they're going to drop off. You're going to see these 4-year, you know, programs like Gonzaga popping off right now, Iowa doing their thing, and other college programs. I think they're going to take that next step. But yeah, I'm in full support of the college athlete. I'm always going to be full support of college athlete. I hope he gets healthy, he gets right for the draft. You know, it is weird. It is weird. He opts out, you know, with 3 weeks left. But I don't care.
Do you think he's
go back for get ready for your future?
Do you think he has the talent to hit the draft right now? That's a different question.
I think, you know, I've heard the reports and I saw some, you know, games that he's had a shaky season, but I still think he still definitely get drafted first round easily.
I mean, I think he has the talent in the ceiling. I don't think he's proven though.
That's what it is. He's not proven, and teams probably they might question this move. You got to think some teams might question this move.
I support his psyche on it.
Me too, most definitely.
I just don't know if he's ready.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, you know, like you said, a lot of these one and done schools, and Duke used to be a 4-year school.
It did.
It used to be a solid. You know, we had the Shane Battiers and the J, but I think, like you said, over the last few years, they kind of try to keep up with the Joneses and catch up to Kentucky's and catch up to. I think their scouting changed, and honestly, we can see it the last 2-3 years.
Yeah,
you know, they're real spotty. They're not as strong as they are all around as a team.
They went downhill pretty fast.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, they had spotty player talent. They weren't a talented team anymore.
And then they, you know, for the past decade, it's kind of been like that. They have some talent, and then sometimes they have average teams. But you know, knowing Duke, they're going to get it right. But with this, you know, you can go right into the G League. We're going to have to look out for that. But the next topic we want to talk about, let's talk about Conor McGregor. He was just knocked out. I mean, we all talking about it in the ASAP Network group chat. Everybody's saying Conor McGregor is going to do this. He's going to do that, and he was just knocked out. So Nate, my question to you is, what's next for Conor McGregor?
I see a rematch between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. I apologize if I butchered his last name wrong, but I feel like in this last matchup, I feel like Conor overlooked Dustin when fighting it. His stance was just a little bit off, and so I see a third match, a rematch happening this summer.
Brandon, I see your comment. Let's talk about this real quick. If you were his teammate, would you question it? No, because me personally, I have teammates in high school and college that we're gonna talk about that next comment too. I had, teammates in high school and college that transferred, and I always want the best for my teammates. I always want the best for my teammates, regardless. So for me, no, especially knowing teammates, they had the ones he's cool with, they had conversations. I suppose because that's what I did in my schools. But no, I'm not questioning. I'm in full support of my teammate. Conor to the WWE.
I see that.
I don't think he's ready yet for that. I think that's definitely in his path. Honestly, real quick before I actually talk about what I actually think is next, that's very, 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 very unique because they have a very unique thing. The WWE is in a terrible situation. They're stuck. Their creative writing ability has been hampered, but they don't have. I mean, Chris, let's be honest, bro. Let's think about the 90s.
No, they have talent. They just don't know how to use it.
They don't have that type of talent. Think about the characters they have. Think about the characters they used to have. Kane and Undertaker, two brothers. One came back from the dead. That was already that character already had so much written into him. So it's easier to write storylines with these characters have such a great backstory. You know what I'm saying? Like you had the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. You had the Hulk Hogan and the Hulkamaniacs. You had so now these guys, these characters that they don't have this backstory. They don't have these. They don't. Their characters don't have any substance built into them.
But that's on the writer's part, that because if the characters they have are strong characters, if you use them right. You ask anybody that stays in tune with the WWE, there's a bunch of talent right now in the WWE, but the problem is they don't use the characters right. I mean, there are so many characters that they're holding back that they show glimpses, but they never let them, go to their full potential. So when I look at the WWE, I question what's going on. I started watching it, for a little bit because they didn't use the talent that they had correctly. And I hate that, with all sports. If you don't use the talent you have in front of you, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to move, But the thing with the WWE is why, the WWE's here. Everybody else is trying to get to the WWE. That's why, we going off topic, but it is what it is. You got 2K being able to put out subpar video games because nobody's going to come over and take the throne. Everybody's trying to get to 2K's level. Same thing with Madden. Madden can put out subpar video games, but nobody's there to take the throne. So WWE, they had times where they could put out subpar things, and everybody was trying to take the throne. Now you had, different, organizations getting close. You look at AEW right now; they're on that path. But for me, WWE could be, head and shoulders above everybody else if they use their talent right. Now, real quick, Jay, before you go and talk about Conor McGregor, I just want to give my 2 cents. With him going to the WWE, I see that more now, and I'm glad I saw that comment because when I look at Conor McGregor, it doesn't look like he has that fire anymore. It doesn't look like he has the passion anymore. He looks stiff. He was just too humble. That's not the Conor McGregor I was a fan of. Talk your ish and back it up in the ring. He was being too humble, too nice. I didn't like that. I didn't like that Conor McGregor, and I had a bad feeling going into the fight when he was being too nice. So for me, if I'm Conor McGregor, I think he needs to get a tune-up fight. A fight just to get his feet wet. Then he has to go fight Jake Paul because everybody, the hype behind that fight is going to help both of them out. Honestly.
You can't go fight Jake Paul.
You have to go fight Jake Paul because right now, Conor McGregor, I'll be honest, a lot of people's not respecting him. And he can't fight Jake Paul right now because he just got knocked out. He has to go win a fight. He has to win Jake Paul regardless of, that's not a real fight. The views is going to bring not only for Conor McGregor to help build his name back up, but for the sport in general. You go fight Jake Paul, and then you go get your rematch and you go get a belt. You got to take that Jake Paul fight. 1 for the money, 2 for the exposure.
No.
Yes.
That's opposite. You take the Jake Paul fight, the next fight is WWE. No, listen. Jake,
not necessarily.
First of all, what I was going to say about the WWE real quick, just a snippet.
Mm-hmm.
I think the perfect thing for them, because they are down, they don't have that issue, that ability to write these characters out well. I think having Conor come to the WWE and having him fight Brock Lesnar would be a super seller for that.
Brock is going to destroy him. I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that. No,
we ain't.
No,
but the WWE would love it. They eat it up. So, but back on this Conor McGregor thing. First of all, he can't have a tuner fight. He's too big of a name. He either fights the big boys or he goes home. He has to fight either. See, this is the thing. I agree with you, Nate. He needs to have that trilogy with Poirier, but it's not yet. He needs to fight.
That can't be the next fight, though.
No, it cannot be the next fight.
I agree with you on that.
He has Nate Diaz talking about coming back from retirement.
That's a good one.
He has Jorge Masvidal. And then he has what's old boy's name? He just fought last week. I'm
having a brain fart.
What's his
name? I know what you're talking about because I was tuned in, but I'm having a true brain fart right now. But I see what you're saying though. With not the tune-up fight.
Usman. Outside of that, that's it. Now Usman is a title, so going up against Usman.
I don't see getting him that shot, dog.
So it narrows down to Masvidal
or
Diaz. He don't want to fight Diaz again. Diaz might beat this. Yeah. But so the other thing is we got to remember, guys, this guy fired his whole camp.
Terrible.
He fired his whole camp, switched camps, and you were right to an extent. He looked humble because he was shook, because he realized when he got there he was not prepared. He wasn't humble. He was shook.
It showed too.
He was shook. His leg, that's why he was stiff. His leg got tore up. They weren't prepared. So Conor either A, retires, B, fights Mandevar Diaz.
I don't see no retirement. No, let me not say that, because honestly, from what I need to see the passion from Conor McGregor. Like when you're in a certain sport, if you don't have the passion, it's hard to say, okay, he's got it. Like when I'm looking at fighters, whether it's boxing or UFC, you the ones that's taking it, you can see the passion, you can see the hunger. I'm not saying Conor never had, because we all know Conor had it, but right now, everybody, including me, a lot of people are questioning, does he still have it? That's what I'm saying. If he's going to fight, he needs to fight at least 2 or 3 times this year. And I know nobody wants to see the Jake Paul fight. I really don't want to see it that much either. But I'm saying though, the payday and exposure, that's 2 big W's.
But is that a payday for Conor or is that a payday for Jake Paul?
It's a payday for Conor.
Conor ain't gonna make that much off that.
What?
Conor makes. Bro, Conor's making the banks.
He is making a bank. But it's not all that UFC bank. It's that
It's both. Conor be breaking the bank in the UFC. Conor, that's why all the UFC fighters hated Conor. Because Conor started breaking the bank. Over.
But he's still gonna get a big check from this Jake Paul fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be hefty.
It's gonna be hefty. And for a guy, and for Jake Paul, clowning him the way he did, you could just say, "Oh, he was talking that, so I had to back it up. Get my payday." That's all. Get it over quick and easy. And all he had to say was he was talking. I had to shut it. I don't have no Irish accent. Whatever, you know how that Irish accent.
I had to shut them up.
Something like that. We talked about college basketball. We talked about UFC. Now let's talk about baseball. Nate, I'm coming to you first. Who is going to be the Cy Young Award winner this year?
I know he didn't play very much compared to this last year, but I'm actually going to go with Garrett Cole. Even though he only played 7 to 10 games, he still, I know this is not much to go off of, but he still led the league in shutouts. No hits whatsoever in those number of games he led in shutouts. So I'm going with Garrett Cole. I think he's going to have his second year on his team with the Yankees, and I think he's going to have a tremendous season. He gets Cy Young winner my vote.
Man, I agree with them. 2019 he had a 2.5 ERA. He led the league with strikeouts, 326 strikeouts. I really think that that Garrett is probably gonna pull it off next year. The other one he didn't have the crazy season that he had the year before, but Strasburg is right there. Strasburg's always gonna be on my radar. I've liked him since he came in. I was really paying attention to him the year after he had that big surgery, but nothing's changed with him. I mean, he's been killing it. So I like Strasburg, but I'm gonna pick Garrett Cole.
I'll be honest.
Okay.
Whoever the Phillies pitcher is, that's my vote. That's my vote. Phillies pitcher. Let's go. So now I gotta agree with Nate. I'm going Cole.
Yeah. No, he got the velocity, like you said last year, Nate. He had 10 shutouts. That's remarkable for the amount of games he played. And then the year before, like I said, he led the AL and ERA and led them in strikeouts. So, I mean, those 3 stats right there alone, the last 2 years back to back. I mean, he's going to do it. He should take it this year.
His record.
My Phillies guy could do something. I'm sorry, Nate. I'm
I just wanted to point out his record. This last year, he went 7-3. The previous year, he went 20-5.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing though that we got to factor in is that the Yankees are going to be good this year. And that changes the dynamic of a pitcher. You know, when you got a team behind you batting and you got a defense behind you playing, that makes you want to throw that ball better. And he's already throwing that ball good. So they're going to have a good team this year. They're going to be in the race to possibly make a real strong World Series run. And him knowing that going into game one of the season, he's going to have a tremendous year.
It's just like my favorite team sucks. I can't even sit up here in front and say, "Oh, they're going to win," because every time I bring up baseball, all I hear is, "Your Phillies are trash. Your Phillies are trash." So you know what? You're not going to hear me bring up baseball no more. But let's move on to the NFL. You know how we do it. Hot takes, hot takes, hot takes. Jay, what is your NFL hot take?
My NFL hot take. My NFL hot take is that Jalen Hurts will lead the Eagles to the NFC East title. And this is why. All right.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Christopher Brown's reaction to that.
This Philadelphia Eagles, this team right here.
Yeah. Listen, man. Listen. So what I seen from Jalen Hurts at the end of the season was hard. And what people fail to understand when we talk about the eye test all the time, we talk about looking at a player and watching the player versus looking at the box score and seeing the box score. There's two different things. When you looked at Jalen Hurts versus when you looked at his box score, Jalen Hurts wants to be successful. Okay, a la Dwayne Haskins. Look at the difference in the mannerisms. Look at the difference in the attitude. Now, not only that, that division is not a difficult division to win in. Not right now. It's not a difficult division to win in. Dak Prescott, uncertainty. Washington football team, uncertainty. Okay? The Giants, uncertainty. And the Giants are more injury than uncertainty, but uncertainty. And when you look at, Jalen, he came from a pedigree where he won, and he's used to winning. And last year, he wanted to win so bad, bro. When he came in, he did not want to go back to that bench, and you could tell. And it was so bad that the ownership got rid of the coach. Then they say, you know what? We ain't going to play this game. We're going to go ahead and get rid of Carson. To the point where they handed him off. They handed him off. Remember during the season when they were talking about trading him, it was too high. It was too high. They were trying to blow people out the water. Dude, we just seen Goff be worth of Matthew Stafford be worth a few different picks. And now Wentz is worth a third. So I think what's going to happen next year, you're going to see a turn. I think the players quit on the team. I think the players quit on the coach. I think the players quit on Carson Wentz. I think the receivers were playing different under Jalen Hurts, but it was too late. There was too much ground to make up last year. There was too much unfamiliarity to overcome at one time last year. So I think this year, 8-8, 9-7, you guys win the NFC East.
I'll tell you right now, from a Philadelphia Eagles fan, we're the worst team in the division until proven otherwise. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. But if you ask me right now, we're trash. In the trade, I'm just going to save it, for later on. Nate, what's your NFL hot take?
My NFL hot take, there's been speculations, rumors going around about Carolina Panthers giving it their all to try to go for Deshaun Watson trade. My hot take is not only is this trade rumor not going to work out, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that Christian McCaffrey might be. I think he's going to be involved in more trades.
Where do you see him going, Nate?
I don't know, but if you put in
Who's the leader in your head right now for Christian McCaffrey?
I'm not trading up a lot for a running back.
What?
I'm not giving up a lot for a running back in this.
This ain't just a running back.
You're right.
Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey.
You right, but I'm saying how much you giving up for a running back.
What team am I?
I don't know what team goes. I mean, then what are you giving up for McCaffrey? I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks for McCaffrey. I can tell you that right now.
It depends on what team I am. Because, all right, I'll put it like this.
Let me ask you this. What team is you say they're running back away from winning a championship?
I think the Arizona Cardinals, if we had somebody like Christian McCaffrey, it'd be a wrap. It'd be a wrap. It'd be a wrap.
Okay.
I think last year the Rams, if they had Christian McCaffrey last year with that offense, it would have been a wrap.
Okay.
And it's Christian McCaffrey, it is different, bro. Alvin Kamara. Think about Alvin Kamara in the Saints offense.
Alvin Kamara have Christian McCaffrey type numbers if he was the number 1 running back.
Who?
If Alvin Kamara didn't have to split carries with a Mark Ingram or Latavius Murray, he'd have, when Christian McCaffrey had the big season a couple years ago, he'd have those numbers.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Think of Alvin Kamara because we obviously didn't see that much of Christian McCaffrey this year. Yes. But think of Alvin Kamara in the way in the style that he got his stuff done this year, specifically this year. That's the type of offense that Christian McCaffrey is capable of.
Oh yeah, for sure. I see what you're saying. I like the Arizona fit. Don't know what you'd have to give up to give him, but I like the fit.
But that's the thing. As Arizona, I don't think we would go out and get him. His price is too much for what we're building over here.
Yep.
But I think just off the top of my head, yeah, that works.
I'll say this though, I'd give up the 1st-round pick for him because if I was y'all, my 1st-round pick would be spent on a running back. So
yeah, 1 1st-round pick.
Oh yeah.
Now I'll tell you a team right now besides the Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo.
Boom. You're not. I'll say that out of the 2 answers you gave me, Buffalo is the one where I can really say they were running back away because their best running back was Josh Allen. And it wasn't like how Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, he could lead them in rushing, but they had multiple running backs to use. No, Josh Allen was their best running back. So that one I would say okay.
And if I was them, I would give away 2 1st-rounders for them because they got Stephon Diggs. Yeah. They got Josh Allen. They got a decent offensive line.
Yeah, I like the Buffalo one. I like the Buffalo one. Nate, I'll be honest, you're not going to like my hot take. My hot take is that Von Miller and his career and his, over there in Denver Broncos is coming to an end. I've been hearing a lot of reports that, that relationship is over. And so with Von Miller no longer on the Denver Broncos, 3 teams, and I'll name an order that I think he'll be going to. Number 1, the Indianapolis Colts. With Justin Houston being a free agent, and if I'm the Colts and you have some money to spend, you have a very good defense. I'm calling up Von Miller because they need another edge rusher. You got DeForest Buckner, and inside, who's to me the 2nd best interior defensive lineman this year. You go ahead and add a Von Miller on outside. Next, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, only because you got guys like Shaquille Barrett, who's a free agent. You don't know what's going to go on with Sue. If you can get Von Miller for cheap, we don't know his asking price. It might be high, it might be low, but if you can get him less than Shaquille Barrett, is that a loss? And then 3rd, the Chiefs. They're in the same boat. They need an edge pass rusher. I know they're in the same division, so it's going to be tough. But we got to ask ourselves, coming off an injury, how much is Von Miller going to be worth? But yeah, I see Von Miller in the Broncos no longer. Nate, I'm sorry.
Let me add to your list.
Go ahead.
Although I don't like it, you're right. I do kind of agree with it. Although I can see it being off trade though, and I don't think it's going to be off free agency. I think see it being by trade.
Okay.
Only because there's still even with reports saying that the relationship's going to come to the end. There's reports out there of us Von Miller going to Houston for Watson, but
that's never going to happen. But yeah, go ahead,
I
Jeff.
would add to that list one other team, man, and you're going to stay in the division as well. Remember when Bill Romanowski left? He went over to the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders do need an edge rusher. I'll say that.
Yes, they do.
Need an edge rusher.
And Von Miller's a very, very Raiders style player.
I was just thinking of teams that's competing for something. Because when you're that age and you know what I'm saying, I'm thinking of teams I can go and have a real impact on. Brandon, I know you're showing those stats, but let's type in the comments the carries they had. Type in the comments the carries they had, then type in the comments. He said this, bang compared to Josh Allen's 42. Now I'm asking you, type in the comments how many attempts each had. Then let me know what happened in the AFC Championship when Josh Allen was ultimated. And I don't get me wrong, I think Devin Singletary can be a good, no, he's not going to the Vikings. Sorry.
He's not. I'm sorry.
Von Miller and JJ Watt. He's being home right now. But I think Devin Singletary can be a good secondary back. Like you have your main back,
correct,
filler. But as the number one, no.
He's a good accent back.
Yes.
In special situation back or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, we're not bashing Singletary at all. We're not saying
not
that
at all.
But he was not the answer for them.
Mm.
And we saw that getting late into the playoffs when they had to make critical plays and they had to use their running back. And it was isolation for Josh Allen. He was literally turning in to the running back.
And for me, unless you have a dominant running back, I'm talking about a Dalvin Cook, I'm talking about a Henry, a CMC, kind of a Zeke type of guy, Saquon. Unless you have that true dominant, could do a lot of things. Running back, I think the dual running back system is great.
Yeah,
I think it's great. Tampa had it. Philly had it when we won the Super Bowl. I mean, you look at a majority, and the Chiefs had it. Like you look at majority of teams that don't have that because
Baltimore,
I can't I'm thinking the last team that really had a true the Seahawks that really had a true number one running back and won a championship. The Seahawks.
Who?
2013, Marshawn.
No, Marshawn was sharing. That was when wasn't that when Carson was brand new?
Marshawn was that guy.
What year was that?
He gave 2013. He gave his young pup some love, but Marshawn was a top 5 back that year. I guarantee it.
Yeah, he was a top 5 back, but they were still sharing time.
Every running back in the NFL shares some time, but I'm saying he was that bona fide number one. Led the league in rushing touchdowns, had over 1,200 yards. Marshawn was still a top 5 back that year.
It was Turbin, and he had like 80 attempts to Marshawn's 300. You're right.
He was all right. I mean, everybody going to split some time, but then nowadays, unless you have that true top 5 running back that can do multiple things, your running back group is going to share carries. But it's time to move on and talk about the big news that happened today. Today, my Philadelphia Eagles, I want to burn it so bad. We traded away our franchise quarterback for a 3rd round pick and a 2nd round pick that could potentially turn into a 1st round pick next year if Carson Wentz plays 75% more of the snaps or 70% of the snaps and they make the playoffs. So I just want to go. I'm sorry how long I'm going to take. It's not going to be too long, but it's going to be long. So when I first heard this, I looked around and said, "Is it real? It must be a prank." Oh, it must be a prank. Somebody's pranking me. You traded your franchise quarterback for a 3rd round pick and a 2nd round pick. And Freddie, I'm sorry, your video is not going to be played because I want to have this discussion face to face. I don't want to play your video and I cannot talk to you in person. So I'm telling you right now, your video is not getting played today. We're going to have this discussion in person. But here's my thing. I don't want to call y'all Eagles haters. I want to call y'all people that are not fans of the Eagles. Everybody this year told me Carson Wentz is trash. Y'all told me we need to trade him. So now don't come out here and say that, oh, y'all got robbed. And all year you were saying that he's a bottom 10 quarterback. He's one of the worst QBs in the league. Because if that's the case, then that's what the Eagles, they got a bottom tier quarterback trade. But me, I'm allowed to be upset because I know his worth. In a 3rd round pick and a 2nd round pick, and you have to eat $33 million in cap space, he by himself is taking up 19% of our cap space this year, and you got rid of him for a bag of chips. I'm upset. I'm angry because you spent 5 draft picks to draft him, right? And then less than 2 years ago, you signed him to a massive franchise quarterback level deal. And then last year, you drafted a quarterback in the 2nd round. Now you trade. And it's more reports saying that this year we're going to bring in another quarterback for quarterback competition with Jalen Hurts instead of putting our quarterback in the best position so he can beat the competition. And for him to be successful, we keep bringing in a whole bunch of quarterback to the quarterback room so they can compete, but they don't win anything. I'm tired. I'm upset. We gave away our franchise quarterback for a bag of chips. A bag of chips. I'm not upset that we traded Carson Wentz because I was still saying Wentz over Hurts, but I always said I'm not going to be upset if we get rid of Wentz. I always said you better give the best package available for him. And not getting the first round pick, the Colts robbed us. They have the 21st pick in this year's draft, and you didn't get that. You didn't get that. I'm truly upset. I'm truly upset because we traded him away for a bag of chips, and we have to eat the money. I'm also upset because I don't understand how Howie Roseman still has a job. How do you trade trade 5 draft picks to the franchise guy and then sign him to a huge deal just to sign a quarterback the next year, just to trade a quarterback the next year, then talk about you want to bring in another quarterback? We get rid of the head coach, we get rid of the quarterback, yet Howie Roseman still has a job when he's the reason why the roster is not good, when he's the reason why we have no cap space, when he's the reason why we have question marks at the quarterback position. How is still Howie Roseman still employed by the Philadelphia Eagles? I do not know. Me personally, I think the Colts got to steal. And I'll tell you one thing about the Colts. They're going to be, if they do right in this offseason, they're going to be the second best team in the AFC. You heard it here first. The second best team in the AFC if they do right this offseason. Because if you ask me, they should have beat the Bills. They were in their territory 9 times, but Phillip Rivers couldn't deliver. I would have picked them to beat the Ravens, just like I picked the Bills to beat the Ravens. That means the Colts, if they had good quarterback play, would have been in the AFC Championship. And I see them having a great year this year. Injuries happened last year, but those guys are coming back healthy. You have a top 5 offensive line. You got a 1,000-yard rusher. You got good young weapons. You have money. Don't let them get an edge rusher. Don't let them get another cornerback. With the 21st pick, don't let them go ahead and sign Kenny Galloway, Allen Robinson. This team is going to be dominant. Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know what you did, but you messed up. I like Hurts. Did Hurts show everybody enough for him to be the franchise guy? Hey, I don't know. I ride with him, but I don't trust the Eagles to put their quarterback in the best position for them to succeed. So, Jay, when you said we're going to win the NFC East, I'm sorry. I cannot, as an Eagles fan, I don't believe in that because the management organization has shown me nothing to make me believe that. They shown me nothing. It's not the fact that you trade your franchise guys. What did you trade him for? That shows me that you don't know what you're doing. That shows me that why would you sign him to that big money contract if you were going to trade him if you had any doubts in the first place? So I don't believe in this franchise. I don't believe in management. And I'll be honest, this was a terrible trade, but hats off to all my Colts fans because they text me right now saying, bro, thank you. We're going to be relevant again. And they are. Who wants to go next?
Man. I understand. I get why you're upset. But if you rewind back a few weeks back when we were talking, I said he's out of here and he's going to be traded. And I said they need to trade him now.
I came to grips with it.
And I said they need to trade him now because this is only making him look worse. Now, this is the only thing that you guys got to hold on to. You guys are in a bad division.
It's on the uprise, though. Everybody's young.
But here's the thing. You just said the key word. Everybody's young. You guys are going young, and you're not making it. Honestly, how much of a drop-off are you going from Carson to Jalen?
It's not the fact that we're going. It's not even that one we're losing something. Okay, last year everybody wants to bring up last year. Last year Wentz didn't have a good year. But Wentz been in the league for a long time. So if you're telling me you're bringing all these coaches, I thought he was going to step up. Hurts can do the same thing. So it might not be the biggest drop off, but that's not why I'm upset. There was
no. I'm not asking you. I'm not saying that's why you're upset. I'm just saying. Let's be honest.
It's not a big drop off, but there's other factors that we need to address for us to be successful next year. And a 3rd round pick not going to help that.
It's not. But you guys got 2 3rd rounds, 2 6th rounds. You guys have Jalen, who's very, very young. And you know who's sitting most of the time in all the mock drafts, who's sitting right there at number 6?
Oh, they're drafting the QB. You can't tell me otherwise. We're not going to draft the QB.
No.
You can't tell me otherwise. We're drafting the QB.
Devontae Smith.
I promise. Listen.
You guys go out and draft. You guys go out and draft Devontae Smith.
I think they.
I was going to say, you asked me.
I totally agree with Jay, but I don't think they will.
They're not. I don't trust it, bro. They're coming out and saying we're going to bring in another quarterback for quarterback competition. I don't trust this team. Listen, I want Devontae Smith. I want Waddle. I want Chase. I want that wide receiver at number 6. But what I want and what this organization actually does is two different things, Jay. Like this,
No, you're right.
Draft. They literally
right.
got draft. They messed up at wide receiver year, and I'm not even talking about Rager because I think Rager's going to shine where it hurts. I think they're going to have a beautiful connection. Years. They always messing up a wide receiver. I don't trust this team to make the right move with the number 6 pick. The right move is obviously receiver. I bet you we're gonna go D-line or quarterback. No one how he can't draft.
Listen, there's no way that the NFL lets him fall to 6. Trevor Lawrence is not falling there. No one's falling there. Cincinnati will trade out of that spot.
I disagree.
Cincinnati will trade out of that spot at number 5
and be available. And I've seen a lot of Justin Fields and Zach Wilson, and also, you know, mock drafts I seen. They say the Eagles moving up to the 3rd pick to draft Justin Fields.
I've seen a lot of that, but let me tell you something. They just lost out on that ability by not getting anything but a 3rd round pick. They lost that ability. So again, yeah, they still got the 6th pick. But who are they going to trade with? Miami? Miami's looking like they need another quarterback. Okay? The only one available, Atlanta. But Atlanta needs solid help. They can't trade back. And then Cincy. Atlanta could trade back, but they're not to 6th. They need solid help. You're going to have to give them something for it. They're not going to give it up. Cincinnati is a spot at number 5 where some other team out there can come trade up and snag somebody right here, right in front of y'all. And if he snags Fields right before y'all, there's no other way to go but wide receiver.
I feel you, but I don't. If you look at the moves, Howie Roseman has made, they're never the right moves. So I feel you on what they should do. Trust me, I'm not arguing what they should do, but I'm telling you, you're talking about a GM that does everything backwards.
Well, the only other thing they could do, Chris, is go defense here.
It's for me. I'm gonna tell you, Nate. I'm gonna let you go after I say this. For me, when I look at it, it's all the wide receivers. Then it's the 2 cornerbacks from Alabama or Virginia Tech, and you trade back. I like Micah Parsons, but that's not a big enough issue for us right now to take at number 6. It's either the wide receivers, the corner, or you trade back. There's no other position right now.
Would you take a crack at Zach Wilson?
No. See. Now, listen. So you saying take a crack at another quarterback?
No, I'm not saying take a crack at another quarterback, but I'm saying the talks of them taking another quarterback.
Let me tell you how I'm gonna feel. I'm gonna punch my TV. We win a Super Bowl, right? Everybody telling me Foles, and then we get rid of the guy who won Super Bowl MVP. You pay, then the next year the guy goes out. You pay him superstar elite level quarterback money. He goes out, and with practice squad wide receivers, he has better stats than Deshaun Watson. We had DeAndre Hopkins. I'm saying that because it's the truth. Look it up. After that, you draft your quarterback in the 2nd round. The 2nd round, when your guy just put up phenomenal numbers, and Jadeveon Clowney thought he was Bubba Ray and headbutted him to the ground. So after that, you draft the quarterback in the 2nd round, and then you trade away the quarterback you gave this big money to. So now the 2nd round quarterback is your guy, but with the number 6 pick, you draft another quarterback. I'm punching my TV.
Yeah.
Nate, how you feel about this trade?
So I wanted to address something that you said, Jay, and you said that you don't think Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields will go back down that far. Justin Fields, I'm probably going to agree with you on that. Trevor Lawrence, because of his injury, I disagree. Because of his injury costing him about 5 months, I think he's going to go down. I could see him maybe be mid-1st round.
Ain't no way. There's no way he's not falling past. He's not. Listen, I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna go. He's not, like he said, he's not falling past 3. You look at number 1, right? Say he doesn't go number 1 for Fields or Wilson, right? Number 2, do they keep Sam Darnold? I don't know. That's not the GM's guy, right? So but I don't see if Trevor Lawrence is available. I don't see the Dolphins passing up on him. I don't see.
Here's the problem. That's
Like,
that.
go
What
to
he
the-
just said is the problem. You got Jacksonville, and you got Miami. The only wild card is the Jets.
And you
That's it.
have the Falcons. The Falcons not going to pass up on them too because you talking about. See, here's the thing, right? Just you look at some of these situations. It's great if you can have a veteran QB in place that you know is on the downhill and draft a young QB. So if you mean to tell me Trevor Lawrence is right there, where the Falcons will take him because now you have Calvin Ridley for the future. You got Julio in front of him. You got Matt
And
Ryan, and now you go ahead and get a Trevor Lawrence. Listen, if a young quarterback can sit 1 year, that's fine. So some quarterbacks can be thrown right into the fire and they're going to prosper, like Herbert did. We're going to talk about a little bit later. But if you can sit a young QB behind a great veteran, woo!
Atlanta would love to have the Brett Favre effect.
I see Atlanta with QB anyway.
Yeah, no, they do need to draft one soon, but I don't think they need to take one in the first round right now. But Atlanta would not let them pass them because any team would love to have what the Packers had. They watched that and they studied that and they were like, look what Aaron Rodgers did for sitting back behind Brett Favre and holding that clipboard and learning. So with that being said, but we're never going to get to Atlanta. We will never, ever get to Atlanta because Miami ain't having it.
Yeah, Miami snatching them up.
Atlanta
Atlanta
ain't having it.
and I'll tell you this. A team will trade up to get him. Don't put it past Bill Belichick not to trade up and get him. Don't put it past the Lions not to trade up and get him because golf's not the future. So I don't see I see three quarterbacks taking it.
You want to be real serious?
Goff is not the future, but I can see him being played. You know, they just got him, so I can see him.
You want to be real serious?
You have a chance to get Trevor Lawrence. You're drafting Trevor Lawrence, even Fields or Wilson.
Call me crazy, but the Seahawks would trade Russell for the pick and some other players if they guaranteed him Trevor Lawrence. People would move around.
Yeah, no, I'm like if you got a quarterback, like even the Texans, if you're in a situation, well, I think more the Texans than the Seahawks. I don't think Russell Wilson is as unhappy as the.
No, but I'm just saying.
I see what you're saying. If you had majority of the teams in the NFL, even the Eagles would draft. It's only certain. I would say teams like the Chiefs, the Ravens, maybe the Bills, the Chargers, the Bengals. It's only certain teams that have their franchise guy that's saying they're willing not to draft Trevor Lawrence. Real quick, Brandon, 3 quarterbacks taking the top 5 this year. I think it's possible. Only because of this. I definitely see Jacksonville taking the QB, right? They're 1. Number 2, and with the Jets, I think it's questionable because I've been hearing reports that who knows with Sam Darnold because that's not the GM's guy. So don't count that out. The Dolphins, I don't know. You got 4 of the Falcons. I see them. That's 3. That's my 3 quarterbacks in the top 5.
Okay. Do 3 teams in the top 5 need a quarterback? Yeah. Are there 3 top 5 quarterbacks? No.
Okay, I agree with you there. I agree. And I've been here. A lot of people have been telling me how y'all feel about that. There's only one true franchise quarterback in this draft that they trust.
That they trust is one thing. That's an opinion. But I think that I think both Fields and Lawrence are definitely franchise quarterbacks. I mean, they're proven, bro. They're both coming from winning organizations. They both got that pedigree. And I mean, Trevor Lawrence, there's no doubt about it. The mechanics on the guy are ridiculous. I don't know. Did you see that pass?
It was disgusting.
Dude.
It was disgusting.
And I know that's a drill, but dude.
Not a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL right now can make that pass.
With the drill, let alone in the actual game. So, you know, the one thing I've been noticing, man, is with these new age quarterbacks is Mahomes. We saw so many different throwing angles over the last 2 years from him. And you know what? He put those things together all in one game this Super Bowl. Yeah, he fell short. But there's not many quarterbacks in the league before this new era that could even make those throws.
I'll give you that. There were some, but now you're seeing it to be almost every single quarter. It's a norm.
Yeah.
Before, like Matthew Stafford's been doing it for years. You know, Aaron Rodgers been doing it for you. You have some of the elite been doing it for years, but now it's the norm.
Yeah.
And that's just a shout out to these quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, you got these guys that are playing baseball and
That's what it
doing
really is.
and doing
Baseball.
different things. Like, look at Kyle Murray, man. Everybody talks about how small he is. Look at the throwing angles. I don't know if you guys watched the throwing angles this dude does. And it's not about the actual football throw. It's about his freaking release points. They're ridiculous. You're not supposed to release the ball like that and have it travel 60, 70 yards. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm looking at those type of things, I'm looking at Fields, I'm looking at Lawrence, and I'm like, they got those intangibles.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about next season. Let's talk about who is your way too early MVP. Jay, I'll go with you first. Way too early MVP.
Josh Allen. My way too early MVP is Josh Allen. I thought this year was. I knew they were good.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they were good week 1, week 2. I didn't know they were this good. And, I underestimated Stephon Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't underestimate Josh Allen. I knew how good Josh Allen was. But I definitely underestimated Diggs. And he went off. That was a big move by Buffalo going to get that dude. That was a big move by the general manager pulling that trigger, getting rid of – because they needed it. And they saw it. And Josh, this year, we talked about it earlier, Chris Brown, and that was a throw out there, but they really need to make a trade like that. They really need to go out there and get Christian McCaffrey. They really need to go out there and get Delvin Cook.
They need to get something.
They need another weapon.
It don't matter if it's a running back, you making a trade. Go ahead, get you Zach Ertz.
Tight end, yep. I was just
or defense. Go ahead, do some. They need to make some type of trade, but I like that.
And we've been talking all week, the last week and a half about Orlando Brown. Go get him.
Don't need it though. Their O-line solid.
No, he's 24 years old.
They got a young left tackle though. If I'm not mistaken, they got one they believe in though. I don't see them doing it.
Well, then move him over to right or something. Go get this dude, man. He's 24 years old. They're not, with him wanting to leave the way he does, and he's willing to sit out. They got to get rid of him. So the asking price is not going to be as high. He's still in his rookie deal. Go get this man some help. This is a chance to a Ben Roethlisberger type start of a career possibility for this dude. He's really killing the game.
Brandon, I see a comment. I was going to say that, but people are going to call me crazy. So
we can't do that yet, Brandon.
Oh, trust me, Brandon. You're going to hear me talk about this sooner than later. Nate, who's your way too early MVP favorite?
I was actually going to say Josh Allen, but I'm not, only because Jay, you took my pick.
All right.
I'm going with a guy that got traded, not Carson Wentz, but I got traded this offseason already. I'm going with Matthew Stafford.
That's a good one.
Over in the Rams. He's been really really underrated over there in Detroit. Still keeping games pretty close with a terrible offensive line. No help whatsoever outside of Megatron. And no, I'm not counting Kenny Galladay, because Kenny Galladay has been hurt for most of his time with Detroit. And Detroit's just a complete mess. They've been a complete mess since 1957.
Mm-hmm. They're cursed. My way too early MVP pick. I'm going Derrick Henry. I'm going Derrick Henry. I see this year he's going to, for the third straight year, rush for over 2,000 yards. For the third straight year. I think that needs to be addressed. I think this year he has a chance, honestly, in breaking a record. Look at last year, they had games where they're blowing teams out or they got blown out. That's time where Derrick Henry is not on the field. I do see Derrick Henry breaking the all-time rushing yard, the 2,100 and some. I see him breaking that. If he does that, and again, rushes for over 2,000 yards 3 straight years, I believe he should win MVP. Not Offensive Player of the Year. That's cute. No, I think he should win MVP.
Can I make a comment on that? because Chris. Yes, this is a stretch on the comparison, but I just feel like Derrick Henry and running backs like Derrick Henry does get a lot of yards, and you said they're either blowing them out or the opposite direction, getting blown out. But when they're blowing him out, he gets a lot of just scrap yards where they're just running the ball through him. You know what I mean?
Sometimes he's not on the field when they blowing teams out.
But is that 2,000 yards?
That's 2,000 yards.
No. But is that 2,000 yards meaningless if they get
No,
knocked out?
Because quarterbacks, you said meaningless if they get knocked out. What you mean?
If they get knocked out every year, right there in the beginning of the playoffs.
No, Aaron Rodgers got knocked out. As soon as he got in the playoffs.
Didn't he go? Did he?
He didn't go to the NFC Championship. Oh, he did. He did. Oh, they went to the AFC Championship last year, though.
The year before, yeah. But
So I mean, like MVP is regular.
He got to do something, man.
It's not always as far as teams losing in the playoffs.
Because man, they done really good in the regular season, 2 years back to back, and just
go ahead, Nate.
That's the playoffs.
Chris, I actually wanted to address onto your point. I only reason why I disagree with the Derrick Henry pick is because MVP has been a quarterback award.
But why does it have to be MVP? Why does it have to be a quarterback award? Sometimes your quarterback's not always the best player on your team, the most important player on your team. Ryan Tannehill's good, but like I think other players I can't wait for a defensive guy to win another MVP.
I think Alvin Kamara this year was right there.
I mean, there's some guys that mean just as much to the team as the quarterback. I don't think it always has to be a quarterback award. Quarterback, just the thing with quarterback is they're going to get most praise, and sometimes they don't always deserve it, like Tom Brady, and sometimes they're going to get always the blame when they don't always deserve it. Just like Wentz, a little bit just like Hurts. So it's like the quarterback, you're in the limelight so much they say, oh, they shouldn't always be the MVP. Just like this year, I hope a center wins MVP.
That's the same question. That's the same conversation we were having with the Heisman, man. Same thing.
Heisman.
It's the same type of instance. They're making it turn into a quarterback type of situation. They got their own quarterback award. Leave the quarterback to that, man.
Everybody should be up. Did you dominate at your position? Were you the most dominant at your position? Did you dominate in the season? How did your play affect the team?
Did you single-handedly dominate teams?
You couldn't. And then as your MVP, is your team the same without you?
Correct.
That's what I think MVP should be.
And now to add on, Jay, you brought about Alvin Kamara. I mean, he had more rushing touchdowns in the game against the Vikings than Cam Newton had majority of his season up till that final season. And so that's why he should have been put at least into consideration.
But when you're not a quarterback, for some reason, you never get the consideration. But let's stick on with quarterbacks. Sophomore QBs. I'm talking about Hurts, Herbert, Burrow, Tua. Which sophomore QB, quarterback that was drafted last year, which one do you think will have the best season this year? Nate, I'll start with you.
I'm thinking I'm going to go with Justin Herbert. Really because more of a team. I was stuck between Herbert and Burrow, but what made me put Herbert over Burrow is because the team that Joe Burrow is on. And it's just a bad team. I mean, the Chargers are just down one or two pieces, and they would be a very. I mean, that includes the entire coaching staff, which is completely different. That defensive coordinator I've been saying all season long I didn't trust, which is great because now he's on the Raiders. The Broncos going to be having to face the Raiders twice that season. So I'm going with Justin Herbert because Bengals need more pieces than the Chargers do.
I'm also going Herbert. I'll say this though: both those QBs, really all QBs need a good offensive line because all QBs offensive line that I'm down this year. But for me, from what I've seen with Justin Herbert this year, how he broke almost every single rookie QB record with one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. If they address that in the draft, they address that in free agency. This team could easily sneak into the wild card spot. They went 7-9 with a whole bunch of injuries and a whole bunch of inconsistencies. For me, I'm going Herbert. I think Herbert's going to have. He had a top 10 year, this year to me for a quarterback standpoint. I think he's going to repeat the same success he had last year or improve on it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even think it's a question. Unfortunately, the only other one to even be able to kind of challenge him in his draft class is going to be a Tua. I mean Jalen too.
No.
Like I said, no, he'll be able to challenge him because he'll be on the field. Burrow's going to be coming back from a significant injury.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this does make me. Let me just say this one point because Chris, this takes you back to that trade and how stupid of them, how they didn't get anything. They were saying they needed another quarterback. They could have at least had them ship back Jacob Eason so they could sit them on their bench, but they didn't even do that.
Team's stupid.
But that's what I was gonna say. I mean, Jalen Hurts is gonna be there by default because he's gonna be on the field. But everybody else, Jordan Love, Jake Fromm, Jacob Eason, James Morgan, they're all sitting on the bench with the clipboard behind.
All bench warmers.
So Justin Herbert. Yeah, so Justin Herbert's leading the way in this group. Is his thing to lose.
Speaking of quarterbacks in the draft, let's talk about this year's draft. Everybody, the consensus for everybody, majority of the people is that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number one quarterback taken off the board. So if that's the case, which quarterback do you see getting drafted first, Fields or Wilson? I'm gonna go first on this. For me, I might be an outlier for this, but I say if Fields was to play his true freshman year, I think you could make an argument he'd be the number one QB in the draft. I think he's that talented. But the fact that he doesn't have a lot of film up. He had that sophomore year, he had that real quote unquote freshman year last year. Then he had this really past year where he played not a lot of games. I feel like if he played his freshman year, his true freshman year, over Jake Fromm in Georgia, if we went somewhere else to get some playing time, I think possibly he'd be the first quarterback taken. I think Fields is that good. I think Fields is a franchise guy. I know people love Zach Wilson, but for me, I may be biased. I think Fields is going to be the next quarterback taken up off the draft. Jay, how you feel about that? Fields or Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really even a question. I don't even know why. I think a lot of it's hype with Zach Wilson. He got hyped into the conversation of Justin Fields and Lawrence because it's a runaway. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, the rest of the field. Zach Wilson's leading the rest of the field. But he shouldn't be in discussion of Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. In fact, we should be asking, is it Mac Jones or Zach Wilson? So I don't think Zach Wilson's in their category. Zach Wilson's in tier 2. He's right there with Mac Jones and even Kyle Trask almost.
Nate, how you feel about that?
I'm going to answer this question in two ways. One, I think I'm going to answer the question on what I think will happen and what I think should happen. What will happen, I think, is Zach Wilson will be drafted behind Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields. I said this only because of Trevor Lawrence's injury. Well, I think he will be the first overall pick. I think the actual pick Fields over Trevor Lawrence. And then now, what I think should happen. I'm only saying this because of the known history between these both BYU and Alabama. Alabama, the transition between quarterback from college to pro hasn't been really that great. I mean, only one quarterback has actually been to a Super Bowl that was an Alabama quarterback, and that was I'm blanking on his name, New York Jets back in Super Bowl III.
Joe Namath, who is like my guy J Mac said, is very overrated QB, and that was a great debate, by the way.
Yeah, and now if you go on BYU standpoint, BYU has Steve Young. BYU had Steve Young. He went to the 49ers and won the Super Bowl there. So I just like the transition better for BYU than I like for Alabama on that standpoint. So I think Justin Fields will be drafted first, but I'd rather go with Zach Wilson only because of history between both schools.
Okay, let's wrap it up with the NFL. Which team last season do you think will make the? Which team that didn't make the playoffs last season, you think will make the playoffs this season? Jay.
Well, without talking about my hot take from earlier, my Arizona Cardinals, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were the best team not to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we did it to ourselves. We shot ourselves in the foot. But let's be honest, man. We are the sack leader of the NFL the year before, out for the season, torn pectoral muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Our leading lineman is with run stopping and pressures, actually, not sacks, but Corey Peters. He injured out for the season. 2 years in a row, but the second year, our second our cornerback, who's supposed to be our second cornerback, Alfred, hurt beginning of the season, didn't play a game. You know what I'm saying? So before we even started the season, we was 3 down on the defense. Before we started the season, we were another one down on our corners. But we were 3 down in total of the major starters on our defense by the end of the year. And we felt it in those last 2 games. We were tired. You could see it there. Larry Fitzgerald, we have to lose some money, get some money out of him. He has to either change it up, go home, something. But we can't spend $14 million a year on him anymore. Once we make a couple of adjustments to our receiving core, we keep, Corey Peters comes back, Chandler Jones comes back. We make a decision on Marcus Golden and Riddick. We're definitely going to be right there. And I think the Rams really going to take a step back next year. I don't know about in whole what their future is going to look like, but I think next year they're going to have to get stuff together, get used to each other. So that's going to be a big advantage for us.
Okay, well, my pick, Nate, before I go to you, the true best team last year to not to make the playoffs was the Miami Dolphins, in fact. And that team this year will make the playoffs with the draft capital they have, with some money they have. I see them improving their roster. Give Tua some weapons. If you believe in them, cool. If not, whatever quarterback you bring in still is going to need some weapons. But shore up the offensive line. Shore up that defense. But team that went 10-6 last year that has so many weapons at their disposal, and the offseason this year, I definitely see them making the playoffs.
They're number 8 right now in salary cap availability. And I mean, the Miami Dolphins didn't have crazy amounts of holes on that team. Nor do they have crazy amounts of free agents, big name free agents.
They need some wide receiver. They need big wide receiver help.
There's a lot of wide receivers.
And they need some
ones available.
And they need some O-line help. And you can never go wrong with some more pass rushers. Those are 3 positions you always going to need.
And both of those positions are available right now in free agency. Actually, a really good year for them for both of those positions, wide receiver and
he had the number 3 and 18 pick in the draft. So you're talking about a team because that I think they have everything at their disposal to make the playoff, make that push next year. How you feel?
You got a good point there. You got a good point.
You like your Broncos? Because I don't like my Eagles. They win Homer. I'm not going Homer. We're definitely not making the playoffs next year. I'll tell you that.
I'm actually going to go with the 49ers. I think the 49ers, their biggest issue, and I also think Broncos' biggest issue as well.
Quarterback?
But I was actually going to say injuries.
Yeah.
I think
all right.
I think, quarterback was the reason why they didn't go deep in the playoffs, but injuries was what cost them from going to the playoffs. For both teams. You had 13 players hurt. You from starters to backups at one point in the season. I'm going to go with the 49ers, but Broncos would be like a good second reason.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to make this known, Nate. If the Broncos had 0 injuries last year, they wouldn't have made the playoffs.
No.
Hey, man, you're in a bad division, bro. You're in a bad division of football. Look.
No, I can't say that.
No, what I mean by that is that division is good. That division is good. Even the San Diego Chargers, which to me is the dark horse after you guys, they're good. The Raiders, that's a good team.
Your division is the hardest division in the NFL. All 4 teams can make the playoffs.
I don't know, man. Our division's still pretty rough.
You have the best division in the NFL.
Oh, you were talking about mine?
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
No, all 4 teams.
I agree, but I think the AFC West is right there.
I do too. I've been saying that. I do too.
I think they're right there. And you know what though? Justin Herbert really, really, really put a stamp on that division.
Mm-hmm.
He really did. Because now you got Justin, Patrick Mahomes, and Carr. Like, man, that's some good quarterback play.
Definitely is.
Last year, would it be okay if I go game by game, which is why I really don't. Okay, I'll explain after.
I'll say this about your team, Nate. Only why I'm shaking my head. Because I know how good your team can be without injuries. So you don't got to go game by game to prove for me why your team's going to make the playoffs. Because why your team could make the playoffs as it was because of injuries. God told you at the beginning of the year, y'all were my dark horse. But injuries did hurt y'all. What also hurt you is that you're back in Tim Tebow land with a quarterback that everybody loves, but you need to go out and do what the Rams did and go get their guy. Because if not, you're going to be like the Bears with Mitchell Trubisky. That's just the fact of the nature, Nate.
Yeah. And that's not a division to fiddle faddle in.
That's not a division. It's like the 49ers. You can't have a good team with the worst quarterback and expect to be successful. And right now, y'all have by far, it's not close. It's really not close. Just like
that's what forced the
other side. It's really not close that y'all really have by far the worst quarterback in the division. It's not close.
And that's what forced the Rams' hand in our division.
Because you cannot have the worst quarterback in the division and expect to be successful.
Trubisky point. You bring up the Mitchell Trubisky point, but the Bears made it to the playoffs with Mitchell Trubisky.
Because they had by far
the best defenses.
Yeah.
It wasn't close. And did they win anything? When it's time for them to put the big boy pants up, just like Tim Tebow. When it's time for them to put the big boy pants on, no Super Bowl means you didn't win anything. That's reality.
No, Nick.
You're right. We did have one of the worst, but we had one of the worst because most of our guys were hurt.
And I'm not battling.
But Nate, can win a Super Bowl?
I don't think no.
Then that means he's not your guy. If you don't believe your quarterback, this how I truly feel now. If your quarterback, if you don't believe your quarterback can lead you to the Super Bowl, he's not your guy.
Yeah.
Because your franchise quarterback is not there to win some games. He's not where to make one play. He's there to win a Super Bowl. If your quarterback, this is no knock, no shape or form on Drew Lock. I love Drew Lock. But if you don't believe he's the guy to bring y'all home, bring y'all to the Super Bowl victory,
you gotta move on.
You have to move on before
because you're in the wrong division to be fiddle faddling.
The wrong division.
Let me say this, Nate. Let me say this. Look at dang, it just blew my freaking mind what I was gonna say.
What team? What describes how I help you out?
Hold on, it just went in smoke. If I can remember, I'll tell you the whole thing I was gonna say. Oh, yes. Look at if you want to have a team where your quarterback is not a primary position in your team, you got to look at the Bears back when they had Rex Grossman. And you know what the X factor was for that team? Not that they had the number one defense. That was a must.
Yes.
That was a must to even compete because they didn't have a quarterback. But you want to know what their X factor was? That they had a player that caught kickoffs and punt returns that prevented their offense from getting on the field and still score. Called Devin Hester.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have that X factor.
Yeah, you have to have offense. If your quarterback's not going to deliver it, you better go get the best returner ever.
And I'll say this. I think if Drew Lock had everything around him, I think it may help him. But if you don't believe he can lead your team, you got to move on. I'm not saying he may get better in years, right? Because when you look at this division, the future for this division is bright because all quarterbacks are relatively young, right? But you don't want to miss your window of opportunity. You may not ever be able to win a division, but you can sneak into wild card.
What I've been saying all season long is that even though I don't even think that we're going to win the division with Drew Lock, but I do think he was a better upgrade than all the quarterbacks we've had since Peyton Manning.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Without a doubt, I'm gonna give you that.
Well, I mean, Brock Osweiler had a really, really solid year. But let me ask you this one question. Do you believe the Raiders have a franchise quarterback?
Yes.
Do you believe Kansas City has a franchise quarterback?
Yes.
Do you believe San Diego has a franchise quarterback?
Yes.
Do the Broncos have a franchise quarterback?
I can't answer that. I don't think if you ask me out of all those, he's by far the last.
And let me tell you the other thing. All three of those other guys I named are going to be playing for the next 10 years.
Facts.
Don't sit back and wait. That division is going to only get stronger.
For me, soon they're going to be the second best division in the NFL, but we're going to have to move on from the NFL. We're going to have to move to the NBA. You know how we do it. Hot takes. I'm setting the tone. Andre Drummond, a guy that everybody's saying, he could be traded. They're saying 8 to 10 teams, really want Andre Drummond right now. Here's the team I think needs to go ahead, and it hurts. It's two teams. I'll name the best team for the start and the team that's going to be fun to see on the second. Boston Celtics need to go ahead and get themselves Andre Drummond. I'm sorry. Daniel Theis is Williams is good. Tristan Thompson is but I'll be honest, Andre Drummond is better than all three of them put together. Andre Drummond's not top 5 center, but Andre Drummond is better than all three. So if I'm the Celtics, a roster that's not that good, and I don't understand why you still sign Tristan Thompson and you still have to – I don't understand the moves that they made. If I'm the Boston Celtics, one step in improving the roster that's real bad right now, because right now they're a 5th seed that's, close to falling out the playoffs. I don't think they're a contender right now this year. One step to help that is to get Andre Drummond. Now, will he be able to, hold his own against Embiid? Maybe. But you're going to need a center that can compete in the NBA, especially in the East. So I think the Boston Celtics making a move, and also my sleeper team that can make a move, that can help them out, that can push them to really stay in the playoffs. I like Charlotte. I would like Charlotte making a move for him. I think he's a huge upgrade from Zeller and Biyombo. You talking about the lineup? You got LaMelo, because I think LaMelo needs to stay the starter. LaMelo, Terry Rozier, Hayward, PJ, and Andre Drummond. That's a playoff caliber team. To me, that I like that starting lineup better than I like the Knicks. I like the Pacers right now. So I think the Celtics, but 2, don't sleep on the Hornets. Jay, I'm going to you next. What's your NBA hot take, my friend?
All right, so I've heard a lot that Drummond somehow is going to find his way to New Jersey.
Only if he gets bought out. There's no way the trade happens.
Yeah, no. So we've been watching now. We've been hearing Drummond trade, and it keeps not happening. I say if this goes another week and a half or so without a trade, he gets bought out and he ends up in New Jersey. But that's not my hot take. My hot take on that.
Okay, just real quick. Mm-hmm. If he gets bought out, that's the only place to go. If I'm him, I'm him.
Mm-hmm. But my hot take: if he goes to New Jersey, Blake Griffin's getting bought out, and he'll be in the Lakers.
I like that. I've been seeing it. That's
my hot take. But Blake will only end up in LA if Drummond goes to New Jersey.
I want to see Blake in Philly. I don't know how him and Doc relationship is. I want to see him in Philly off the bench.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. We need a power forward. We've needed a power forward for 4 or 5 years. Okay.
No, him and Chris Paul, they're not playing together. It's never gonna happen.
Dog, I know, But let
That's
bygones be
never gonna happen.
bygones, man.
That's
That
not
would
gonna
be
happen.
something
You talking about the
smooth.
ultimate petty with Chris Paul? That ain't gonna happen right there.
It would be so smooth, though.
That would be a nasty team, but I'm not. I like Jay over Blake. I don't like Blake as a starter anymore in this NBA.
Then don't start him. Let him call it the biz. Let him do a Harold.
But just to touch on that though with the Nets, for me, I don't see. There's no way, shape, or form the Nets are going to trade for Drummond.
No,
I think they're and I don't think a lot of teams are going to give up because I've seen this crazy thing. It's like Andre Drummond can score 30 points and grab 20 rebounds, but he won't affect the game. I gotta disagree with that in some way, shape, but I don't. I will say he's not a top 5 center, so I don't know how much the team will give up for him. But I truly believe if he gets bought out, there's no other place to go. It's either LA or it's the Nets. Maybe the Raptors.
I'm gonna let Nate go before I comment on that.
Go ahead, Nate. What's your NBA hot take?
My hot take is I get that this team is sitting at 6th right now.
Yep.
6th in the Eastern Conference. And yes, I'm referring to the Raptors.
Yep.
But let's be honest, they're not going anywhere.
Mm.
They got to blow up this. That the Raptors need to blow up that entire franchise. Scratch.
You ain't heard my feelings. I've been saying that all season. Go ahead, though, Jay. What you had to say?
That had me with the Raptors. I think yeah.
But
it's been different since Kawhi left.
Mm-hmm.
It has no, it's not been different since Kawhi left. Let's not pretend like Kawhi's been there for a long time. It's been different.
No, it hasn't been. It's not even like Kawhi had a good year, but they're not that good.
It's DeRozan.
They don't have the star.
Raptors.
It's not even that. They went from DeRozan to Kawhi. So you had your true number one. They don't have a number one anymore. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, but DeRozan was the Raptors, and they gave him up to get Kawhi, thinking they might be able to give him, and it backfired. That's what happened.
It backfired. They got their one ring, which for some people eyes is worth it, which is fine. But they lost they went from the number one in Carter to the number one in Bosh to their number one in DeMar to the number one in Kawhi to no number one. That's why I think it's different.
But back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing with Andre Drummond about that with that 30 and 20 and not making any impression on the basketball court. So that's the problem with him going to the Celtics. Okay, the Celtics are too small ball for Andre Drummond.
But you can't play small ball in the playoffs against the Sixers, though. That's the thing.
You're right, but again, the Celtics crew moves too fast as a unit for Andre. And Joel Embiid will beat Andre Drummond up the court. And Joel Embiid shouldn't beat many people up the court. And he'll beat him up the court by a few steps too. Mm-hmm. So Andre Drummond is gonna drag your team. It's like that boat with the anchor that the chain thing broke. So the anchor is just dragging, and the boat still needs to get where it needs to go. So it's just dragging this freaking anchor around. That's how it's gonna be with Andre Drummond on certain squads. So when you look at that, it's not a good fit for Boston. He's not, and that's why we're seeing this halted trade moments with Andre Drummond, because they're asking for a lot. Mm-hmm. But really, you're shaping your team so much more. Like Indiana can take Andre Drummond right now, stick him like a Miles Turner, nothing would change because of the way their team is built. But you move them to like Boston, you move them to like, honestly, New Jersey's gonna have to slow down a little bit, but it's okay because they stop and dribble. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. They'll push the ball up the court and say, Andre, just stay down here on defense. Me, Kyrie, and Durant will be right back.
DeAndre Jordan runs the floor.
No, he does, but he's a load, bro. He's a load, and he don't run the floor every play. Mm-hmm. And if he runs the floor this play, he's not running the floor for 4 more. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference. It's just like Blake. I'll take Andre Drummond over Blake all day long. But if you tell me I'm Boston and I get to pick between Drummond and Blake, I'm picking Blake. That squad is built better for Blake than it is for Drummond.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not trying to see Tristan Thompson and Daniel Theis in the same stuff. Like for me, I mean, as a Sixers fan, I love to see it. But somebody rooting for the Celtics, that's just a terrible roster. And I said last week, not last week, earlier this week, quote unquote contender team I don't believe in is the Boston Celtics. I don't think they'll make it out the second round this year. I'll be honest with you. But let's move on. Let's talk about who is the most underrated player so far this season. Nate, I'm going to you first.
Now this guy, we're going to be talking about him a little bit later. But I haven't really seen much on this dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Nikola, not Jokic, but
Vucevic?
Vucevic.
Mm.
I think he is, and I think he's really, really underrated because he's on a team that is probably not going to do that decent. He's not. I don't see Orlando doing much this year if they make it to the playoffs. I don't see them going past the first round. I have them. He's a beast, but he's on a team that's not that great.
Jay, who's your most underrated player so far this year?
I think that people need to just stop and admire what James Harden's putting together. I think
no way you call him underrated though.
Yeah, I think people not, and when I say underrated, maybe I'm not exactly answering it the way you wanted me to.
I see what you underappreciated.
Yes,
underappreciated. Full disclosure, I said before this trade happened that he was going to be doing what he's doing right now.
Yes,
I said exactly when this trade happened, he's going to be doing what he's doing right now. And right now, I got the game in the background, but not even look at the box score. I promise you, he has over 5 assists right in the first.
Dude, what he's doing with the basketball, okay, is just utterly ridiculous. He's leading the league in assists.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to? Oh, they're not going to be able to work together. They're going to.
I don't know why people said that. I honestly, if you know basketball, you knew he was going to be coming to be the playmaker. I cringed every time people said that. I have been saying it. I said it all the way in August that he'd be fine.
Did people not watch? I mean, me and you always talk about the eye test. We always talk about it. We always get back to this eye test. But do people not watch the basketball games? James Harden. The reason why he's dribbling is because in Houston, they used to stand around at the freaking 3-point line and watch him.
Exactly.
He's not having that issue.
People they're casuals. They don't understand.
Yo, what he's doing right now, and I'm going to say it again. I said it before the trade went down. I said when we were talking about it. Joe Harris is a freaking major part of this basketball team.
I said it too.
Man, he is a major part of this basketball team. And right now, James Harden is playing like the MVP of the league. Quietly.
Easily. And the scary thing about that is, I mean, I just said it, and like the thing is why he's so good and why, we're going to talk about this a lot on Real Talk, but the thing why I like it so much is, first of all, Houston, he led the league in assists before. But you're talking about he has two.
But not like this.
No, you're right. But like the thing is though, he has KD and Kyrie next to him, who both can make guys around them better, but they're at their best when they're looking to kill. James Harden's going to say, okay, y'all go ahead, do your thing. And they got 3 guys where the defense will end up, okay, oh, KD's killing, oh, Kyrie's killing. Then James Harden just rocks your sleep. Also, when he plays with that second unit, he's the best with the second unit because he makes people around him better more than those 2 guys because how good of a passer he is. And the scary thing before I talk about my most underrated players, just imagine his team next year when they get Dinwiddie back. Everybody's talking about their bench. Just imagine when they get Dinwiddie back. There's your 6 man because Dinwiddie and LeVert were the same player. Honestly, they were the same player, putting up the same stats. So now
one last thing
next year.
Nets lead the league in fourth quarter scores.
Because who are you going to stop? It's usually some teams, all right. So you look at, for example, my Sixers, right? It's either going to be or Harris. You may have Seth Curry step up. You may have Ben Simmons step up. But when you look at the Nets, they have 3 out of the top 8 best ISO scorers in the game. They're so efficient that who are you going to stop?
And all 4 of the players on the court are in the top 10 in 3-point percentage.
And not even that. They go small ball. You got Jeff Green and Joe Harris that's spotting up. This team is nasty. Unless they go against my Sixers because you can't put Jeff Green on Joel Embiid or BBQ. Chicken. That's all I got to say. But let me get my most underrated player before we move on real quick and close this show out. My guy, y'all said, two guys respectfully that their name, like, these multiple All-Stars, right? Vucevic, he's been to All-Star. My most underrated player right now is DeJounte Murray from the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 15, a little over 7 rebounds, 5 assists, almost 2 steals. I mean, this dude is a two-way guy. And before his third year, he got injured. I thought that was the year he was going to take over. Last season he was getting his feet under him, but this year he's really taking that next step. And once he, gets to the free throw line more as that jumper, this dude is going to be a beast. I mean, talking about a real two-way guard, not these. I'm talking about a real two-way point guard. DeJounte Murray is balling right now, and I think he might not make the All-Star game. We talk about guys that's balling out and helping their team win, and on an underrated Spurs team that is having a better season right now than the Mavs. DeJounte Murray, needs to get some credit. But let's move on. Let's talk about the All-Star lineups, man. So for the Eastern Conference, the All-Star lineups, you have Kevin Durant, captain. I thought it should have been Embiid, but that's neither here nor there. You got Kevin Durant as the captain. You 2 guards. You got Kyrie Irving and Bradley Beal. Power forward, you have Giannis. Center, you have Embiid. For the West, you have Luka, Steph, Captain LeBron, Jokic, and you have Kawhi Leonard. Let me ask you something, Jay. Do you agree with the starting lineups for both teams?
No.
Which one don't you agree with?
The West.
There's only one. Yeah, there's only one player. Who is it?
Luka.
Who should he be replaced by?
Game time.
Yeah, what's already understood does not need to be explained. Nate, how do you feel about it?
I'm the same way. On the Eastern side, I have one other thing. You said, and both of you kind of brought up the point is what I'm trying to make. Jay, you brought it up with Luka and Dave.
Joe Harris cooking right now.
And Chris, you brought up that Embiid should have been the captain.
But wait, I got one more.
Wait, say it again, Nate.
He said Embiid should be the captain.
Yeah, I mean, I was being biased. I was being biased when I said that. I'm not in no way, shape, or form upset at KD being a captain after coming back from Achilles, averaging what he's saying. I was just being biased and saying Embiid, honestly.
I don't even think Embiid was on the. Did you? When you brought up the roster, I don't even think you even said Embiid.
No, he's the starting center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I would also Kyrie. I think that James Harden should be the starter.
I think it's close. I'm not mad at you. I think it's close, but if you're going on, yeah, I do say that, but because Kyrie is still lined up as point guard, I think that's what they did. But I truly, which is weird because if you look at the West, you got Luka and Steph. But honestly, I'm not mad at. Joe Harris is on fire, but I'm not mad because I think for all the disrespect Kyrie was getting towards, I'm glad that he, is getting this All-Star nod. But yeah, I definitely think James probably should be starting. But let's move on from that. Let's talk about a guy, playing for the Atlanta Hawks that's been really eating the past 2, ever since he's been drafted, but is not getting a lot of respect on his name, and like the team doesn't want to give him the big bucks. That's John Collins. There's been a lot of reports that the Hawks are open to trade him, and I wouldn't be surprised because I don't think they're going to give him the big bucks. Which team do you think? I'm going to go first on this. Actually, Nate, I'll let you go first. Which team do you think should trade for John Collins?
This has been kind of hard, but I did read some. I don't know if I 100% agree with this, but I did read some things that Celtics and the Pistons are 2 teams that I've been hearing about trading for John Collins. I'm not sure if I really agree with that, though. Giving him the big bucks, I don't know if there's any team that might consider giving him the big bucks, except for, well, no, not really.
Here's my team. Actually, no, I got a 6. I feel like me and Jay think alike. It's probably not going to be his team, but I can't jinx it. My team, even if it's a 1-year rental, I'm the Portland Trailblazers, I make. Was that who you thinking about?
I'm gonna let you finish.
If I'm the Trailblazers, if you're talking about come playoff time, everybody fully healthy, you can have a lineup of your two backcourt guys and CJ and Dame. You can have Rocco. You can have John Collins and Nurkic. It's a pretty good lineup, and John Collins is giving you that consistency when it comes to being a guy on offense that can score. So I'm looking to make that move. Jay, who's your team?
Okay, so I was looking at it, man, and I'm like, man, John Collins, for his benefit, go get the bag, but at the same time, you can't get the bag next year, right?
Mhm.
So go to get team to win a championship. So, but as a 1-year rental, I was gonna say Portland,
Yeah.
or the Clippers. The Clippers could move Ibaka to the 5.
He already playing the 5.
But I mean, respectively now,
Uh-huh.
because I don't really think Marcus Morris, what's his name?
So
Yeah, I don't think these dudes come playoff time are gonna be able to hold it down at the 4.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
go get yourself John Collins, put some more height out there, put some more beef out there with Ibaka, and go. And John Collins can score.
Mhm.
Because the Clippers have a problem scoring outside of their major 2. So, and defense. So I like that. That right there will put the Clippers back to where they were last year with roster weapons.
Now the next team, well, quick, I like Miami too. If I could, I would. That's another team. If I could, I would make a move for them.
That'd be a long-term stay too.
Yep. If I could, I would. But man, it's getting to be that time. It's getting to be that time. That rank them. To end it off. ASAP Realtalk. You got Andre Drummond. You got Nikola Vucevic. You got Bam Adebayo. Rank them 1 through 3 for me, Nate.
Like I said, and I've been saying this a lot, I'd rather be an accurate shooter than a person to shoot more shots.
Mm.
So if that's the case, then I'm probably gonna go. I'm probably gonna. I'm probably gonna go with Bam Adebayo at 1, Andre Drummond at 2, and number 3 I'm gonna go with Nikola. I can't remember his last name.
Wow. That's shocking. Jay, what do you have?
I'm going Bam. I'm going Nico, and then I'm going Drummond.
Well, to end it off, I said we all have different lists. I'm going Vucevic number 1.
Okay.
I'm going Bam 2, and I'm going Drummond 3. If you put Vucevic on a team like the Clippers, you talking about a whoa. If you put Vucevic on a team like the Nets, you're talking about a whoa. On the Raptors, you're talking about a whoa. You're talking about putting him on a team like the Blazers over Nurkic. You're talking about a whoa. Him on the Warriors instead of a Wiseman, you're talking about Vucevic is a very, very talented offensive player. If you surround him, if you put him on a contender type, even him on the Grizzlies, that's an upgrade. Him on the Mavericks, that's an upgrade. Him on the
but I think Bam
on the Pelicans would be disgusting because you're talking about a guy that can shoot.
But I think Bam, you put Bam in a position where there's a bunch of scorers around him, he's going to do a lot more for that team. Like you put Bam in Brooklyn versus Vucevic, Bam does way more for Brooklyn than Vucevic does.
Let me say this: I think I love Bam as a player, but if I'm talking about right now, I think Vucevic. Don't get me wrong. I think Bam is the best defensive center. I think what he brings to the table is nasty, but consistency right now. I know Vucevic is going to give me 20 and 10. I know
Vucevic
this.
is playing for a bag. He wants to get out of there. He wants to go somewhere.
I know Vucevic is giving me 20 and 10, and I know Vucevic. They're both good. It's close for me. I was battling myself back and forth, but just with consistency, I got to go Vucevic over Bam. But that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody, for watching. ASAP Real Talk. We appreciate you. We're going to catch
Till
you
next
Monday.
time.
Yeah, until next time. Peace out. We'll see you Monday.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your face.